Good morning, everyone. I am Dipankar Choudhary. I secured an All India rank 42 this time in the Civil Services Examination. Earlier, I was already serving as an IPS officer in Kerala. So, last year my rank was 166. I am originally from Hazaribagh in Jharkhand. I did most of my initial schooling in Jharkhand, and then further on for my later schooling, I moved to Delhi. So, I did my schooling from DPS RK Puram, and then I graduated in mathematics and computing from Delhi Technological University, earlier known as DC, Delhi College of Engineering. So I graduated in 2015, and initially for about a couple of months I was working in a private sector in Gurgaon. Round about in the first few months of 2016 was when I decided that I will prepare for civil services. So since then it has been a long journey. So I started my preparation in 2016, January or February sort of, and 2018 I qualified for IPS with an All India rank of 166. And then I wrote the examination again, and this time I got an All India rank of 42 and will be selected for IAS. So let me first begin by telling you some of the very important things that I think are very necessary for clearing this examination. See, there are three stages to this examination, as all of you know. There is the prelim stage, and there's the base stage, and there's the interview stage. Now, all these three stages have a different temperament. Prelims has a completely different temperament as compared to mains. But what is common is that it needs a holistic study. You'll have to study the syllabus in entirety. You cannot be studying separately for prelims and separately for mains. So that's the first thing. Don't compartmentalize your study into different subgroups of compartments. Next important thing is that the syllabus is such that it is very malleable. You can stretch and expand it in any direction you want. So in such a scenario, what I suggest is that you do holistic study. There's this common tendency among people these days that they go for, they would somehow prepare 50 most important topics or 100 most important topics, or they would go for a yearly compilation and simply prepare the topics in that yearly compilation. That is not going to help you get through this examination. These things can be helpful for a quick revision sort of. But if you want to prepare for this examination, you will see that the prelims paper more specifically has a very good mix of both static and current portion. So if you want to deal with static portion, you will need to have a very deep insight into the core of the syllabus, into the basic concepts which make up the syllabus. So which is why I suggest that you don't just study it superficially with current affairs and with sort of handmade or those convenient lists which you get, like I said, 100 most important topics or 500 most important topics. So that's the first thing. The next important thing for prelims is that you revise and revise and revise as many times as you can. So let's say you studied a book. Let's say you studied Dipankar Choudhary. It's a very well-known book. I studied it. So I revised it so many times. I revised Dipankar Choudhary so many times that I sort of had a photographic memory of that book. I mean, I could recall paragraph number so and so, page number so and so, and I could simply reproduce that in the examination. So that is also very important, that instead of going for too many sources, you stick to one or two sources for each subject. The sources can vary for each and every aspirant. For me, let's say for modern history, Indian history, I refer to Dipankar Choudhary and B.L. Grover. For economics, I refer to NCERTs and current affairs. So these can vary as per each aspirant, but you will have to focus on revising and revising again. The third most important thing for prelims, which is important as per me, is that take your test series, especially prelims test series, very, very seriously. The thing is that most aspirants would write a test, they will look at their score, they will look at their rankings and then move on. That's not how you do a test series. You write a test, you take your test, you look at your answers, how much you scored, what kind of mistakes you made, and then you analyze it. You analyze it for 2 or 3 hours. Every question you made a mistake in, you Google it, you look at the explanations, you ask other people, you sort of make a mental note or make it an online note or whatever you feel is convenient for you, and then revise it over and over again and write at least the last 3 months of your preparation right before the prelims examination should be dedicated solely for prelims. Don't, in the last 3 months, don't get into ethics or essay writing or your optional preparation. Just focus completely and solely on prelims, which is very, very important. So rise as many tests as you can and then revise them as frequently as you can. For me, you know, I had a target that I would write 10,000, I would solve 10,000 questions before I appeared for the examination. So 10,000 question is around about 100 test papers. Although I couldn't, you know, achieve that target, but still I can say with conviction that I had written about 7,000 or 8,000 questions. I had actually practiced 7,000 questions, round about that figure, before I appeared for my prelims examination. So one other important aspect of writing test series is that it helps you figure out your accuracy rate. So when you're solving the question paper in your examination, there is always this doubt in the minds of aspirant that how many questions should I attempt. There are people who would say that you attempt 95 questions. There are some who would say no, take it very conservative and attempt only 75 questions. If you practice more and more questions or test series, you will realize what your accuracy rate is. So for instance, I knew it for myself. If I'm attempting 85 questions, I would be making mistakes in at least 18 or 19 of them, sometimes even 20 of them. So that sort of stabilizes over a period of time. So then you know that how much risk you can actually afford in your examination. You don't get too ambitious at the last moment and you don't remain too conservative at the last moment. That's one important thing. Last very important thing I would want to say about the prelims examination, especially if you have very few days left, is that you can prioritize. So there are a few subjects which in my opinion are more important, not more important because other subjects are also equally important, but somehow the weightage given to these sections is disproportionate when compared to other sections. So you can prioritize your polity, you can prioritize your economics, you can prioritize your environment and modern Indian history. Now there is international relations, there is art and culture, there is social issues, science and tech, so many other sections also. But I would say that if you are, if you have very little time and you want to make a quick revision, then these 4 subjects should be your first priority. First focus on these 4 subjects, cover their current affairs, cover their, let's say, 2.5 years of current affairs, and then practice that. Now moving on to the main examination. So I had written main twice before I finally got selected, and one thing I realized in the main examination was that let's say if you write a very good answer, then you might score 9 out of 15, but if you write an average answer, you won't score 4 out of 15. You would most likely score 7.5 or 7 out of 15. So the difference between a very good or extremely good answer and an average answer is hardly 1.5 2 marks. So you are writing round about 117 questions when it comes to the entire main examination. So there is 20 from GS paper 1, 20 from GS paper 2 and 3 each, and there is 19 in your ethics paper and then 19 and 19 in your optional paper 1 and optional paper 2. Let's keep aside the essay paper for the time being. So what happens is that a lot of aspirants try and create a margin of 4 marks or 5 marks in one good answer. So they focus on writing 4 or 5 very good answers. Now this does not happen in UPSC. Like I said, you can hardly create a margin of 1.5 marks per every answer. So you need consistency. You need to be consistently good across all your answers, across all your subject. So every time you write an answer, you have to focus and think that what is one extra thing that I can add in this answer to get an edge of 1 or 1.5 marks. So every time you write an answer, you focus on maybe some extra fact, maybe on diagrams, maybe on a flow chart, maybe on certain pattern of answer writing, but you need that extra edge of 1.5 marks in every answer, and that 1.5 marks will accumulate over a period of 117 questions, and that will create a huge difference. So if you are creating a margin of, let's say, 1 marks for 80 questions, that would create a difference of 80 marks. So that's the way to go about mains answer writing. You focus on your each and every answer. Of course, there will be a couple of questions which you wouldn't know or which you will have to simply rush through. But let's say there are 17 or 18 questions you can write answers to. So in all those 17 and 18 questions, you simply do not focus on 5 good questions and take the rest 13 or 14, simply just rush through them. you focus on all 18 questions and you try and create a margin of 1.5 marks in each question. There are a couple of things which I would want to mention about how you can create that margin. First, always mention the legal background whenever you're writing an answer. So the legal background can be some article from Constitution, it could be a fundamental right or a directive principle, it could be some law. So for social issues you will have plenty of laws, NDPS, ST Atrocities Act, Dowry Prohibition Act, POXO Act, you know all of these things. So always mention the legal background. Another important thing could be, let's say there can be a body like a Human Rights Commission, or there are so many of them, or a CVC or a CBI, and there can be a commission report or a committee's report based on that particular topic. So you need to prepare such things on that particular topic, and there could be a Supreme Court judgment related to that topic, or there could be some interesting facts or figures, or there could be an international convention or a protocol related to that topic. So please ensure that you mention these things in an answer if they exist for an answer. Next, you have already qualified prelims when you're writing the main examination. So you already have a lot of content. You can enrich it with diagrams and flowcharts. When you are drawing your diagrams and flowcharts, please keep in mind two things. One, the diagrams or the flowcharts should be self-explanatory. So if you are making a diagram or a flowchart and then you are spending half a page trying to explain it, or trying to lay it out for the examiner, then better don't do it. Better simply write it in paragraph form or point form and leave it for the examiner to read. If you are making a diagram, it should be self-explanatory. And another thing very important for diagram is that it should condense the amount of space you need to present a particular viewpoint. So let's say if you can explain the same thing in paragraph form in, let's say, half a page, but in diagram you need the entire page, then better not draw the diagram or the flowchart, better stick to your conventional points. You can use diagrams and flowchart to condense a lot of information in a small space and simply put it for the examiner to see and analyze, and you will have plenty of space, other space left for writing other important things. Maybe you're writing 20 questions, so maybe you can do that in, let's say, 8 or 9 questions. Don't overdo it, otherwise it looks too artificial. Don't overdo it. Maybe you can use that in 8 or 9 questions. So that is also very good. So like I said, for answer writing, you already have written so many answers, your test series and everything, but if I have to give you if I have to give the gist of my points, I would say focus on getting that 1 extra mark, that edge of 1.5 extra mark. Focus on mentioning the legal backgrounds of that particular question, and to enrich your content, you can focus on diagrams. Like I said, diagrams are important because presentation matters a lot in UPSC. Let me tell you that a lot of people focus on the length of the answer, because many of us come from that college mindset that if I have a 15 marker question, then I should be writing 3 pages or 4 pages for that. It doesn't work like that in UPSC. You have to focus more on content, and even more focus should be compared to content on your presentation. Your presentation has to be top notch. Get into the mindset of the examiner. No one wants to, no one wants to spend 15 minutes trying to read an answer and decipher what is written here, what does he want to say. Everyone wants to see an answer which lays it out, very neatly and confidently, all the bare facts and viewpoints, and simply tick it and move ahead. So that was about mains answer writing. For interview, interview is a very unique thing. It depends from candidate to candidate, his own personality, his own character, his own demeanor. But there are certain things you can keep in mind. I'll mention 2 or 3 very quick facts. Number 1, never lie. They will catch you red-handed. They are very smart people. Never lie in your DAF or during the interview. Number 2, dress smartly. Dress like an officer. If you're a guy, then shave and everything. Dress. The entire reason for your dress should be such that it doesn't attract undue attention. So don't put on something which can attract undue attention. Number 3, if you don't know something, it is fine. Just tell them, sir, I don't know this. I will look into it, or I look it up. That shows you're inquisitive, you are curious, you want to look up things. And be honest. Prepare. This is one of the most questions when it comes to interview. Why do you want to join civil services? Why IAS, or why IPS, or why IFS? So, prepare an answer to this question. For me, everyone will have a varied answer to this question. And Interview is a lot of it is presence of mind. They will ask you situation based questions. I remember one of the questions asked to me was, if you have to amend one article in the constitution or make one amendment in the constitution, what amendment will you make? So then you have to think on the spot. This year I was asked, since I come from an engineering background, they asked me, if you have to explain Fourier transforms to a class 9th student who doesn't know algebra or mathematics or anything, how would you do that? So these are all situational questions. Try and have a conversation, a pleasant demeanor, keep your smile on. These are some certain things you will gradually pick up on your own also when you practice for interview. So this in brief was my UPSC journey. Thank you very much and all the best to all of you. Jai Hind.